This week on Machinery Pete TV, some big equipment makes this Iowa sale a big deal, not the least of which is this powerhouse John Deere S790 combine on tracks. A 3-day stretch of auctions shows the strength of used tractor prices. And a diamond in the rough is the focus of this Farm All project in Indiana.
Your machinery is a serious investment and at the heart of every farming operation. Some call it a passion. We're Machinery Pete TV, and today we'll cover everything from auction roundups to the classics to the latest trends and technology. Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com. Go big or go home? That's what we're going to do today, folks. We're going big. Welcome to Machinery Pete TV. We're in Rockwell, Iowa today for the Ron Baer Retirement Auction. It's actually an online sale, but we're getting an up-close look at his machinery today. He's got a 19 model John Deere S790 on tracks, and how about a 1,500 bushel grain cart, 17 model Brent 1596. So before we watch these monsters sell, we got to go back to the studio and check out the latest farm equipment news.
All right, thanks, Pete. I'm Clinton Griffiths. Equipment sales are off to a strong start in 2021. That's according to the latest monthly flash report from the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. Now, the report says the sale of all tractors in the U.S. during January were up 25% compared to January a year ago. Nearly 16,000 tractors were sold last month. Now, smaller two-wheel drive units under 40 horsepower, they were up 33%. 40 to 100 horsepower tractors were 16% higher, and the larger four-wheel drive tractor saw a 34% surge year over year. Now, combine sales are also starting strong, up 77% compared to the first month of 2020. You may have noticed this, propane prices are starting to climb. In fact, the Wall Street Journal is reporting they have jumped more than 70% since late November. Now, it's not just attributed to this recent outbreak of historically cold weather in the past week. It's also being blamed on an increase in the use of propane to heat patios and outdoor dining during the pandemic. And there's also been an uptick in exports to Asia. Despite the near 70% increase in prices, it could push even higher following this latest round of cold weather. A new study shows the renewable fuel standard has cut greenhouse gas emissions by nearly 1 billion metric tons since 2008. This updates previous research and was done for the Renewable Fuels Association. Now, it found that between 2008 and 2020, the use of biofuels under the RFS has resulted in cumulative savings of 980 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent greenhouse gas emissions. RFA says reductions exceed the original projections done by EPA. Now let's look at some recent auctions from around the country.
Hey folks, I'm here with my friend Matt Sullivan with Sullivan Auctioneers, and Matt, we got a big old grain cart we're gonna sell here, a 17 model 1596, 1,500 bushel, is that the size on this thing?
1,500, yep.
I don't know about you, Matt, you've been in the business a long time. I've been at it over 30 years. I couldn't have imagined a 1,500 bushel wagon back in the day.
No, and it's almost still hard to imagine a little bit today. I mean, but with the big 36 inch tracks on it, I mean, that's the difference, really.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And what have you guys seen with the large carts on tracks? Has that ratchet up demand that you've seen the last year or so, Matt?
It has. I think that when they first came out, it was maybe everybody thought they were too big, but now everything's big and getting bigger, and they're about the right size, really.
I remember being at your big sale on your lot was right before the pandemic hit, Matt, which is nice to have those memories. But I remember going down the sale line and there was a planter and a grain cart, and they both had tracks, and they both sold about 10% higher than I thought or everyone else. And it just seems like last year or so tracks have been kind of hot, haven't they?
They have for sure, and I think especially when you get into a 1,500 bushel grain cart, it's almost a necessity. Yeah.
Now, one other very in-depth question here, Matt. On these grain carts, these Brents, and some of these other carts and wagons, when they can give you the green or the red to match, I get asked this a lot. Have you noticed any price difference, green or red? You know what the diplomatic answer
I was
would
going
be.
to say, I know what I should say, no, but
It is
you
interesting.
you see more green ones. It's probably more standard, and I think that if and when you see a red one, there's less of them out there. They almost sell a little bit better. But
See, that was well handled politically. Very good, very good. So now as we come up to sale day, Ron, what are you looking back over everything that you guys have gone through and come out here where you are? Words of advice, or what are your emotions?
Really a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
And it's been a good run.
Right.
Couldn't have done it without the good wife, Bev. She's been the best thing that's happened, and couldn't have done a better job. She could run equipment better than any man.
Ron, we were talking a little bit ago, and I noticed you got a phone call from a neighbor. You had it on speaker, and he just wanted to call to wish you a successful day. And having good neighbors like that, that's pretty important. It's pretty awesome.
Being around good people and good neighbors is real special and important. And I've been surrounded with good people and good neighbors, good family, good help, everything. Been really lucky.
Right. And Ron, what would you say the secret to clawing through all the challenges over your farming career as you look back now? Advice you might have for
Get
younger
up and
farmers?
put your boots on every day and go to work and know your numbers and just keep every day. Don't quit. Just keep trying.
Love
Just
it.
keep trying.
Love it. Here are a few more items that sold on today's sale.
Machinery Pete TV, brought to you by the Cenex Total Protection Plan, the best warranty in the agriculture industry that keeps you in the field and provides you peace of mind. Visit Cenex.com. Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.
Well, folks, the market for good condition used tractors absolutely on fire here early in 2021. About as strong as I've ever seen it, honestly. Now let me give you some examples from 3 consecutive days, second week of February. On an online collector auction Monday, February 8th, this beautiful 1974 International 1568 V8 twin M&W turbo sold for $51,500, new record high auction price ever on a 1568. Now that same day, Monday, February 8th, a farm auction in west central Iowa produced this 1998 John Deere 8400, 4,033 hours on it. Looks beautiful, as you can see. It's over $100,000. Folks, that's tied for the highest auction price in 9 years on an 8400. Now the next day, Tuesday, February 9th, on a farm auction in northwest Indiana, this 2013 John Deere 8235R. This thing only had 44.1 actual one-owner hours on it, was a Gold Key Tour tractor, and sold for $177,500. Now that's an all-time record high auction price on an 8235R. In fact, the previous high auction price was $172,000, but that was a little over 7 years ago. Now that same auction in northwest Indiana on February 9th also had this 1993 John Deere 4960, 2,499 hours on it, sold for $93,250, highest auction price in 8 years on a 4960, also the third highest price ever at auction. Now the next day, Wednesday, February 10th, online farm auction, north central Illinois, this 1996 John Deere 7800 two-wheel drive, 3,721 hours on it, went for $60,000. And we'll leave you with this one, folks, that Illinois auction, 1982 John Deere 4440, 5,231 hours on it, $39,500. So folks, a great time to be a seller of a good condition used tractor here early in 2021. Welcome back to Tractor Tales, folks. This week we're off to Delphi, Indiana to check out a restoration project on a Farmall H. Built in 1947, this classic red may not look like much now, but wait until you see the final product. High school tractor shop teacher Doug Walker shares his story.
This one actually belongs to my brother and my sister-in-law. Most everybody in my family is a John Deere person. However, everybody in my family also owns a Farmall H. And so this one is my sister-in-law's tractor. This one will be in the parade and the tractor drive as well, and she's itching. She will be the one driving it, and she already told my brother that he's not allowed to touch her tractor. So we haven't done a lot to it yet. We've started on the sheet metal. We've got a few parts that we know we needed for it to put it back together to run. It ran before. So there's not a lot that we have to do to this. The sheet metal's in pretty good shape. So other than that, we're gonna sandblast it and prime it, and probably by Christmas it'll be primed, and then it's a little bit later than the ones we've had. Wyatt's is a 44, and we did one last year that was a 40, so a really early one. This one was one my brother found. It was fairly local, but it wasn't our family's. We do have one that we've had that my dad has that was a family tractor. I foresee her driving it in some fair parades, putting it in some fair shows. She will enjoy it. I've seen her and my brother from time to time just take off on a drive around the country on the tractors, just to get out and enjoy the weather. My brother has a tractor that we did in here about 6 years ago. It was a John Deere 4010. I've done one for two for my dad. I've done one of mine, and then the rest of them have all been pretty much students or requests from people that we've had over the years.
Hey, stay with us, folks. You're not going to want to miss this because I've never seen one sold before. A 2019 John Deere S790 on tracks, 747 engine hours with PowerGuard warranty till October of 24 or 2,500 hours. Visit your Drago dealer and see how you can justify owning a Drago on ROI alone.
Got equipment to sell privately but tired of scams and hassles? Visit MachineryPete.com and click Sell Mine. MachineryPete.com, the simple and secure way to buy and sell equipment online.
All right, folks, time for a feature item. We got a heck of a combine. Matt, a 19 model S790 on tracks. I think, 747 engine hours, 539 SEP. This is quite a machine.
About as big as they get, yes.
I don't think I've seen one on S790 on Trax sell at auction yet.
It's the first one we've sold with the factory John Deere tracks. Yeah,
Okay.
It's pretty neat.
Okay. What was the vibe? I mean, a lot of phone calls on this, inquiries the last 10 days or so?
Yeah, a lot. You know, we don't sell a lot of 790s. You know, they're the Class 9 machine, the big ones, and
Right.
it's not for everybody. But if you can use one, it's the big dog. It's as big as they get.
Right.
Yep.
And an opportunity hard cash. Although I saw the online bid this morning was already up over 300.
Right.
But yeah, just a kind of a unique opportunity on a machine like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, pretty neat.
Now, Matt, with the online auctions, what have you guys seen? What's the rhythm of these things as you come along? Like, say, the bid's already up over 300 a day out.
Yeah.
But as it closes, I mean, what have you found typical? Is there a pattern to this thing? Just a
You
rush?
know, it depends on the item, but the morning of, you know, an hour or two before is when it gets really busy. I mean, that's when the serious, not a lot of point in bidding, you know, a few days out. It's not like you're going to get the item, but
Right.
when it comes down to it, you know, an hour or two before the sale, it gets really fun. Yeah.
And through the pandemic here, I've been watching your guys' sales, Matt. It seems like the prices, if anything, they've strengthened. It's just been an amazing year.
Pretty
Do you think
crazy.
there's anything psychologically to the thing where we can just sit and click in anonymity? Is that driving this? Is there something psychologically there?
I think that we're all on our phones or on our computers more now because there's maybe a little bit less going on, and
Right.
it's just right there in front of you. It's easy to do. There's no buyer's premium. I think that
Right.
makes a big difference.
Huge,
And I don't know, it surprised us all. There's no doubt about it.
Well, who wouldn't want to click one more time to own this combine? Well, folks, I love bringing people together, even Pioneer seed dealers from Indiana and Ontario. Kind of a cool story here. Starts with Mark Fluke from Indiana, who had this beautiful 1997 John Deere 8100 two-wheel drive tractor for sale, 3,913 hours, one owner. Mark said he bought it brand new in December of '96, the first tractor he ever bought brand new. He said, Pete, it was very difficult to decide to sell this tractor, but we had recently purchased a new planter, and we think we needed a larger model, maybe a front wheel assist, so time to sell it. Now, Mark mentioned over the years he'd had a lot of success listing his equipment for sale in the local ag paper, but had noticed the last few years that those ads just weren't generating the calls like they used to, which makes sense. I mean, everyone's spending more time online. So anyway, Mark listed it for sale in our MachineryPete.com website, which you can certainly do too. Anything you folks have for sale, just go to MachineryPete.com, click on the Sell Mine link, and you can list it with us. Now, when Mark did that, and I saw this John Deere 8100 come through, so beautiful, I did a promo post to our Machinery Pete Facebook page that in the space of a couple days, it just went bonkers. We had over 3,200 likes on the post, 179 comments. I think the post was shared 90 times. In the space of a couple days, 148,000 plus people had seen the post. And one of those folks was Lee Irwin from Ontario, Canada. Now, Lee had actually seen the 8100 in MachineryPete.com the day before the post, but he really wanted this tractor, so he reached out and talked to Mark. Now, Lee, being in Ontario, wasn't able to get across the border with the COVID-19 closure, so he was just kind of pinging Mark, can you give me any more information, verify the history on the tractor, and Mark was very upfront and said, hey, why don't you just call my local John Deere dealer. I won't give any specific names. Just call them and ask them what they think of Mark Fluke, their customer. So Lee did that, and of course got glowing reports from the John Deere dealer. And they went back and made the deal. And then the cute part was that Mark, really wanting to reassure Lee from Ontario about how legit and great this tractor was, said, Lee, I'm a Pioneer seed dealer. And Lee started to chuckle. And it turns out he also is a Pioneer seed dealer in Ontario. So happy to bring you guys together. And I guess the moral of the story, folks, is if you got something to sell, list it for sale on MachineryPete.com. Well, folks, thanks for watching Machinery Pete TV this week. I hope you enjoyed our visit to Northern Iowa for the online farm retirement auction for Ron and Bev Baer. And I tell you what, to see the highest auction price I've ever seen on a combine and on a grain cart on the same sale, tell you what, that was really something. So congratulations to the Bears on a great sale, and to our friends at Sullivan Auctioneers for another home run. Now tune back in here next week, folks. I can't guarantee we'll see prices that high, but I guarantee we'll have fun. Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com.
Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.